Hey there, how are you? I am Clarence and today we'll talk about the best Nintendo Switch games that are on sale right now. We will be covering the UK, Europe, US, Australia, and Canada eShop. But first and foremost, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you want to see more of this series, please leave a like, remember to subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell to receive future notifications. Likes and subscriptions help keep the channel alive. First on our list is Shovel Knight Kings of Cards. Kings of Cards is a fantastic conclusion to a fantastic story about Shovel Knights. It's well made, has that old school feel we all love, and our new hero can pull off some seriously cool moves. The card game Justice is a fantastic addition, but because it is a must-have, it may slow down the entire game to a dangerous level. Shovel Knight King of Cards is the cherry on top of a massive sundae that I've thoroughly enjoyed, and I know I'll be replaying it in the future. Next is GRIS. GRIS is best played in one sitting as a 5-hour adventure. There's not much else to do with the game after that. When you solve the same puzzles over and over, they lose their appeal, and the world becomes increasingly linear. GRIS, on the other hand, is a work of art in terms of how it looks and tells a story. GRIS is a well-crafted puzzle platformer game that also takes the player on a colorful release journey. In this ever-changing world, there are surprises around every corner, and the pace remains steady from beginning to end. Next is Astalon, Tears of the Earth. The game's story and premise are intriguing, but they don't try to overshadow the action and exploration. A lackluster set of achievements and unlockables, as well as map progression and item finds, raise the longevity score even higher, and I found it difficult to put this one down. If you enjoyed playing Bloodstained, Action Verge, and other indie games, you should check out Astalon, a fantastic adventure game. Next is A Boy and His Blob. The Switch port appears to be comparable to other HD ports. It appears that they simply ported the Wii game to a new platform and make it look good enough. Even though I'd love to see the all-star team of developers who worked on the original Wii release return for more Blob content, I'm glad that a great Wii game lives on modern consoles. Whether you first played A Boy and His Blob on the Wii in 2009 or have never played it before, you should definitely give it a try. Just remember to hit the hug button whenever you need to brighten someone's day. Next is Persona 5 Strikers. Persona 5 Strikers is my favorite spin-off game in the series. It takes concepts from one of my favorite games and applies them to a new genre. The story goes above and beyond expectations. Best of all, for those who thought Persona 5 was too long, Persona 5 Strikers is a much shorter game. I hope Atlus returns to this type of game in the future. It's a fantastic framework as it is, and it could only get better if some of the issues were addressed. Koei Tecmo's use of Persona 5 style is outstanding. They truly outdid themselves. Next is LUMINES Remastered. LUMINES Remastered is one of the best puzzle games ever created, and it works flawlessly on the Nintendo Switch. This is a puzzle game you should not miss, with intense and immersive puzzle action, psychedelic graphics, a great soundtrack, and a ton of content and game modes. LUMINES is a fun and addictive game that I recommend to puzzle fans as well as those who have never played one before. LUMINES Remastered has something for everyone, and given how cheap it is, it's a must-play for anyone with a Switch. Next is Rune Factory 4 Special. Whether you should buy Rune Factory 4 Special depends on whether you played the original 3DS version. There are a few new features such as new cutscenes and a new Game Plus mode in which you begin Merit. Furthermore, having it on Switch rather than the 3DS allows it to have a higher resolution and a larger screen, whether docked or used on handheld. Having said that, there isn't much new content. Despite the fact that none of the parts are particularly good at what they do, the whole thing is very entertaining and charming. Next is Ultimate Chicken Horse. Without a doubt, Ultimate Chicken Horse is one of the best party games on Switch. It has a unique mix of creativity and platforming, is simple and fluid to play for many people, and has a lot of content and potential. The porting job had one flaw. I had to restart the game twice in a matter of hours. Aside from those few occasions, this is one of the most enjoyable games I've played on Switch. Ultimate Chicken Horse is required if you ever played with friends on your Switch. Next is Skullgirls Second Encore. Skullgirls Second Encore is a near-perfect fighting game, and the fact that it can be played on the go with the Switch only adds to its appeal. Skullgirls has a lot to offer fighting game fans, but it won't convert those who don't like how fighting games usually work. Despite its flaws, Skullgirls Second Encore is a worthwhile purchase if you want a fun fighting game to play with your friends. If you play it alone, it will also keep you occupied for a long time. Even having a large number of interesting characters and game modes is insufficient to keep people interested in a fighting game for an extended period of time. This is what active communities accomplish. Next is Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is a great party game if everyone enjoys a little bit of stress from time to time. The puzzles are challenging but enjoyable, and there are so many ways to set off each bomb that you won't get tired to them for a long time. The game setup is also excellent, making the Switch setup one of the best ways to play the game. Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is a fun party game if you have a group of people who aren't afraid to share a lot of information. Next is Crimzon Clover, World Explosion. Crimzon Clover owes a lot to many arcade shooters from the 1990s and 2000s, but Yotsubane clearly loves and understands them. It's not only a tribute, but its mechanics are so good that it distinguishes itself from most other doujin shoot-em-ups and can compete with the best in the genre. It's flashy, exciting, and addictive, and any fan of the genre should get their hands on it. Crimzon Clover World Explosion is one of the best shoot-em-ups on Switch in terms of gameplay and ease of use. There are enough new modes to keep fans interested, as well as simple options for those who have never played a bullet hell game before. This shoot-em-up deserves nothing but praise. Next is Fire Emblem Three Houses. Whatever you do, Fire Emblem Three Houses is a lot of fun. It's the best Fire Emblem game since Awakening, and I'm adding it to my list of Switch games to play right away. It does an excellent job of dividing the work between its school and battlefield sections. The characters are all quite good. The three storylines are distinct enough to entice you to replay the game, and the promise that everyone has untapped potential to become the units you desire entices you to do so. It's a fantastic game that will undoubtedly become one of the most well-known for the Nintendo Switch. Next is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD is superior to the original in every way. The improvements to graphics and performance make it feel like a new game, and the Switch's Joy-Cons improve the motion controls. The most noticeable change, however, is the new button controls. Players no longer have to contend with the motion controls and can instead focus on the satisfying combat and brilliant level design. What was once the odd one out among the 3D Zelda games is now considered one of the series' best. Next is Persona 5 Royal. From the beautiful style to the captivating music and story, everything about the game appears to fit together and work very well. Each part builds on the previous one and complements it, until the game has earned its place as royalty at the top of the RPG genre. Persona 5 Royal is a must-play for any JRPG fan, and a great place to begin if you've never played one before. If you enjoy long RPGs with many interconnected systems but have yet to play, we implore you to join the Phantom Thieves. Next is Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. Doki Doki Literature Club Plus is a game that allows you to do things that you can only do in a video game. It's also the type of game that tests the boundaries of visual novel genre. It's a great example of what people who don't play video games may be missing out on if they don't try a variety of games. When you're finished with this game, you'll want to tell everyone about it, but you won't want to say why. Doki Doki Literature Club Plus is a highly recommended and very unique way to play games at the current price. Next is Alwa's Legacy. Fans of retro games and good, exciting Metroidvanias will enjoy Alwa's Legacy. It is brief but to the point. It has some of the best pixel art on Switch, as well as a fantastic soundtrack and sound design. With its clever dungeons and complicated overworld, Alwa's Legacy will keep players interested from beginning to end. You'll get a little more out of this adventure if you've played Alwa's Awakening. Starting with Alwa's Legacy, on the other hand, will not leave players in the dark, as it does a lot to make this its own game. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Next is FIlament. FIlament is a game that I enjoyed because it taught me how to solve puzzles while also providing a relaxing soundtrack, beautiful graphics, and a compelling story. This is the type of game that you can play all weekend or for 15 to 20 minutes during your lunch break and then pick up right where you left off. High difficulty is a big part of the game for the majority of its length, and I think this is where it really shines. The best part about playing FIlament is the large number of puzzles, each of which is unique and it was created in a creative manner. FIlament is the next puzzle-solving indie game you should play if you need a fix. Next is Enter the Gungeon. Enter the Gungeon is a twin-stick roguelike that is extremely tactile and can be played repeatedly. It is one of the best indie games available on the Nintendo Switch. It's always entertaining to play because the fights are exciting, the levels are unpredictable, and there are always new weapons, items, and secrets to discover. Another modern classic from an indie developer has found a suitable home on Nintendo's console. There aren't many games that are good as Enter the Gungeon because there is so much to discover. You'll playing this game for a long time. Even if you see everything, you will return. Next is Valkyria Chronicles. There aren't many games that are better buy than Valkyria Chronicles, and the Switch port's quality makes it a must-buy for anyone interested in the series or looking to add it to their Switch library. The only thing that elevates an SRPG is the ability to take it with you and play it on the bus or at a family event. Valkyria Chronicles is a Switch strategy game, but there have been a lot of good ones recently, so it's tempting to pass it up. However, do not do it. It's a fast-paced game, and I'd like to see some parts, such as Graveyard for Fallen Soldiers, return in future games. Even though war is hell, Valkyria Chronicles is a little piece of heaven. Next is SUPERHOT. SUPERHOT is unlike any other first-person shooter you've ever played. The main campaign is a little short, but there are dozens of ways to replay it if you desire. We're not sure why this phrase comes to mind, but SUPERHOT is most intensive shooter we've seen in a long time. Overall, SUPERHOT on Nintendo Switch is an excellent way to experience one of the best and most unique games released in recent years. If you've already played it, it's not worth purchasing again, but if you've never played SUPERHOT, this version is an excellent choice. Even the icon is nice, which I know is important to many people when it comes to Nintendo Switch games. Next is Cyber Shadow. You owe it to yourself to get Cyber Shadow as soon as possible if you enjoy old school action platformers. Almost every aspect of Cyber Shadow design demonstrates that it was a labor of love and that the person who created it is well versed in what makes the best games in this genre so great. This is an excellent and focused experience with excellent levels, an authentic appearance, tight controls, and a high level of difficulty. It's simple to say it's well worth your time. Mechanical Head Studios has set a high standard with its first game, and we can't wait to see what else it has in store. Next is Black Book. Black Book feels like a Dungeons & Dragons campaign through rural Russia in some ways. Along the way, you learn about history and folklore, which I enjoy, and battles are fought with cards rather than dice, which I also enjoy. The pacing is off, the addition of Durak is unnecessary, and there are some quality of life issues that could be improved, but I would still strongly recommend this game to anyone who is interested. If you can immerse yourself in the story right away, Black Book will be your go-to game for a long time. Black Book, a really well-crafted RPG adventure, is designed so that you can play it for hours at a time or pick it up and play it mission by mission without getting lost. Next is Puyo Tetris 2. Puyo Tetris 2 offers nothing new. That was already done in the first game in this series. This sequel maintains what was good about the first one while adding to or improving on everything else. The tutorials are clear and lengthy, making it easier to learn how to play. The various online puzzle leagues add to the depth of online play, and the new skill battle mode adds a clever new twist to the game. This is a fun puzzle game with a lot of content and activities. Puyo Tetris 2 is a fun and simple puzzle game that combines two classic games into one great game that will make you smile. Next is Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. Treasure Trove is a jump pack with games, and there are so many different ways to enjoy them. It's up to you whether you want to play with others or by yourself, and whether you want to play handheld or dock. I don't mind. Play Shovel Knight right now. Shovel Knight is one of the best indie games of recent years, and this is the best version yet. It also works well with the Switch concept. Next is Metro 2033 Redux. Metro 2033 Redux is a fantastic first-person shooter survival horror game that 4A Games has nearly perfected for the Nintendo Switch. Artyom's desperate, hunting journey through the irradiated remains of Moscow is as compelling as it was in 2010 because the AI, game mechanics, and the graphics have all been updated. This Redux version is far superior to the original. This is one of Nintendo's best first-person shooters or survival horror games. It's not necessary to focus on the fights in a game like Metro 2033. You're only here to survive until the next day, not to kill as many people as possible. If you haven't already, you should check out this dark, tense game on the Switch. And last but not the least, Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon. Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon is a thoughtfully designed new take on the falling block puzzle genre. This one is ridiculously easy to recommend because it has so much going for it. High intensity, combat-based gameplay, a plethora of ways to replay it, a cute art style, and a surprising amount of depth. If you enjoy Shovel Knight or falling block puzzle games in general, you owe it to yourself to try this one. Even if you don't fit neatly into either of those categories, we think you should try it. Overall, Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon is one of the best puzzle games and roguelite games I've encountered. Despite a few flaws, Shovel Knight fans should play this. That's all guys, I hope this video was helpful in deciding which game to play, and thank you for checking out the list. Please remember to subscribe and we'll see you at the next one.